guide for Nippon Ichi Software America and FuRYu's latest JRPG, Monark, continues with our third video. I hope you all will find these guides useful, especially considering that the game is going to start throwing harder puzzles/riddles. Anyways, before we begin the walkthrough proper, let's roll in the warning for today's video. The third part of our walkthrough guides is finally here. With it, another building in Shinmikado we will clear. From Nozomi to Ryotaro, it is now time to set our sights on Kokoro, the first year's building, and its curse and its frights. And once again, I must implore the themes this game Monark has in store. For in this new chapter, additional triggers do apply, so keep that in mind, and you may just be fine. These themes might be heavy, especially for so many, so should you end up playing Nippon Ichi's new game, remember these words I have proclaimed. But that is enough of my helpful babbling. It's time for the next mist to come unraveling. And so let us now tackle this new path as we challenge the next pack bearer, the pack bearer of wrath. So yeah, as fun as it is to record these warnings, I'm really not kidding about the next act we are going to be tackling in this video. They don't outright show the bullying here, but the information you will gather as you play this act is going to be providing some uncomfortable insights all the same. So, as always, do keep that in mind. But anyways, before you go triggering Kokoro's act, while in the intermission or the interlude phase in between these acts, be sure to check out the buildings you have liberated since, again, depending on how thorough you have been exploring them beforehand, you might have missed some items, notes, or profiles. There will also be a lot more alter egos now that you have met a couple more students and faculty members. Depending on whether you've been taking time to do the psych tests and battling to level up your characters, you may be able to unlock some of them already. Again, for a list of items, notes, and profiles you can get per chapter or act, you can always check out our previous videos. When you're done with your free time doing whatever you need doing, leveling up, exploring, answering those psych tests, head on over to the library building found by heading to East Street. It's the first building there. Upon entering the library, you will trigger Kokoro's introductory cutscene. Kokoro is actually one of the characters I love in this game, considering how her interactions with the others go, especially with Chio. And if you're ready, accept Kokoro's invitation to start her chapter, Retribution from Beyond. Don't bother trying to explore the library though, since you won't be able to do or find much. It's a place that we will be exploring much later on. Now, as Kokoro informs you, you will both be working together to deal with the pack bearer of wrath, whom you can find in the first year's building. Before we actually head on over to that building, first head back to the main building and into the infirmary and TSC room to trigger events for Kokoro and the characters there. Also, it would be a good idea to do some battles and level her up as well, considering you will be fighting enemies that will be of a higher level than hers if you end up waiting until later to do so. Once you're done with that, head back to East Street, past the library, and to the first building on the left. That is the first year's building, and you will trigger a cutscene once you get close to its entrance. Heading inside will likewise trigger yet another cutscene, and you will get to see just how badly things have gotten in this building. Now, in the first floor of the first year building, you will find these items. Heading to the northern hallway will trigger another cutscene, and you will witness firsthand what the Pack Bearer of Wrath is capable of. Once the cutscene is done, you will be able to progress further into the building. Note that Miho Sonabe is the third and final person in the academy who will be giving you psych tests. And at this point of the game, she is found by the stairs that will lead you up to the second floor of the building, which incidentally is also our next destination. Up the second floor, a short cutscene will trigger, and as always, stay close to Vanitas in this mist-infested floor to obtain the number to the singularity. Deal with that first, along with level 15 and 16 enemies. Remember, you don't actually have to hurry during battles, and it is still advisable to fight all the enemies rather than just going for the singularity, considering the amount of spirit, ego increase, and drops you will get is still determined by the enemies you actually defeat. Once you've dealt with the singularity, you are now free to explore the second floor without the death call's interruption. Here are the stuff you can find in this floor. Now, passing through the second room to your right, you will hear Minori Kishima. This room is where you have to go in order to get to the first ideal. And in order to get Minori to open the door, we have to assuage her fears and convince her to open it. To do so, head to the AV room at the very back of this floor. At the back of the room, you will find a locker and a red note. To open the locker that contains the item we need for Minori, and as the red note hints, check on the SMK3 beginnings note in your phone and note the day they officially kicked off the group. Input these digits into the locker and obtain the SMK3 group photo. With the photo in hand, backtrack to where Minori is and pass the photo through the gap. Doing so will finally let you in on room 1C. There is a locker here as well and a red note with the hint on what the code is. If you guys want to open the locker, you would have to wait until this floor is mist free. Head back to the AV room and check the number being projected into the screen. But if you don't want to get through all that trouble, the code to this locker is 0623 and you will get Farrier's Ground and registered to your library. Once you're ready, trigger the phone call to be whisked away to the other world and into your first battle to shatter the ideal. The map here has a lot of breakable walls for its gimmick, and the enemies range from level 12 to 16. Once you've dealt with them and shattered the ideal, you'll be transported back to the TSC room. Speak to everyone in the club room. If you speak to Vanitas, he will give you another special psych test. I'm curious how you all will fare in this one. Level up and head to the infirmary as needed, depending on how much your mad gauge has increased. Once you're done here, head back to the first year building to trigger another cutscene as soon as you enter. Once the cutscene is done, feel free to explore. You will find these additional items on the list. Note that Miho and her psych tests have relocated to the second floor where you will trigger a cutscene. Another cutscene will occur further along the second floor hallway. I personally lost whatever sympathies I have for the two characters involved in this scene, to be honest. When you're ready, head to the mist-infested third floor. Another cutscene will trigger once you get up to this floor. Wait for Vanitas and his phone number to the depths to initiate the battle to destroy the singularity. Note that enemies here are level 12 to 17 and there is a healing light gimmick at the back of the battle map. Once the death calls have stopped, head to the back of the third floor hallway that, if you're looking at the minimap, is east of Vanitas. Along the way, you will hear Teruhide Takahashi calling out. He is asking for help to be let out of the room, but naturally the door is locked, so we will need to find the key. Now head back to where Vanitas is and take the other hallway. By the bend, just before the end of this hallway, will be a large red partition and you will hear a student mumbling from the other side. Take note of the numbers that he says. With that number, head to room 1E and to the locker there. Input the number 3258 to obtain the key you would need to set Teruhide free. Along the way, make sure you obtain the following items. Head to room 1F afterwards to open the door with the key you have obtained. Read the disturbing red note if you want and prepare yourself for a battle before answering the call to the second ideal. There is a new gimmick in this map that you have to keep an eye out for, Will-O-Wisp, which, if you enter its radius, will damage whatever unit is within. Enemies are around level 14 to 18. Provided you have been leveling up every time you are sent back to the club room, these enemies shouldn't pose any threat. With the second ideal shattered, the third floor will be free of the mist and you will be teleported back to the TSC club room. Talk to everyone and prepare as needed. Back in the first year building, you will trigger 2 cutscenes when you reach the second floor and another one when you climb up to the third floor. Once you regain control, make your way to the first year building's mist-infested rooftop. Get the phone number from Vanitas and hop into the battle to destroy the singularity for the third time in this act. There will be 2 Will-O-Wisp and a couple of breakable wall gimmicks in this map, and enemies will range from level 15 to 17. Deal with them and shatter the singularity to free yourself of the death call in this section. While you are in the rooftop, you will find these items scattered around. Now, in the middle of the rooftop, you will see a maze made up of benches piled together. Near the entrance to that maze will be a student, Takashi Yatabe, asking for a password before allowing you to enter. To be able to get the password, you will first need to solve the riddles for the lockers found within the maze itself. Of course, you can actually guess it in the first time around, but for completionist's sake, let's go on ahead and do it as the game intended. To be honest, the riddles in this maze are quite easy and you don't really need to actually solve them. Simply speak to the students near these lockers, Rinko and Anushka, and Kokoro will be the one to answer their riddles and provide you with the locker combinations for them. So simply input these numbers. Opening both lockers will give you notes for your library with the password you need to get past Takashi. Speak with Takashi with these in tow and input the password to be able to proceed. Prepare as needed, and when you're ready, answer the call to the third and final ideal and the battle against the Path Bearer and Monarch of Wrath. Gimmick-wise, the map will have the usual breakable walls, healing light, and will-o-wisp. For enemy levels, they range from 12 to 17. The Pack Bearer will be at level 18 while their Monarch will be at level 20. As usual, both the Pack Bearer and the Monarch will stay put, with the Pack Bearer using Resolve until you get close. Take care of maneuvering through the area, as impenetrable walls can hinder your progress if you bunch your units up close together. The Pack Bearer may use Static Shield on their Monarch, which increases their defense. As for their attack, they use a bow, so their reach is quite long. Watch out for the Monarch's Asura technique, which can deal a whopping to a single unit while increasing the Monarch's agility and movement. They also have the Static Strike attack, which they frequently use, and it's another single unit attack. Now, to make this battle easier, deal with the legions first before attempting to tackle the Pack Bearer and the Monarch. Resonate with the Pack Bearer when you get the chance to enter the Awakening state. And if you have their specials unlocked, make sure to use this against the bosses. I actually had one of my units end up being incapacitated during this bout because I was being a little bit impatient and not careful of my unit's placements. Once you beat the Pack Bearer and Monarch of Wrath and shatter their final ideal, you will finally and completely rid the first year building of the mist. Talk to Kokoro once you've been teleported back to the club room to officially close off her chapter. And that's about it for Act 1, Kokoro Surugadai, Retribution from Beyond. This act was pretty painful to actually play through, especially with how I felt sympathy for both the Pack Bearer's predicament as well as the way Kokoro views herself. Having said that, it is by far not the saddest, though I use this term loosely for lack of the better term, act in this game. But yeah, Kokoro's first act is done. We are now left with the final recruitable character act with Shinya. So tune in next time as we tackle the third year building and the crazy stuff happening there. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video. Until then, you guys know the drill. Dream on, fly on. Bye bye for now. Keep safe, everyone.
Someday we'll have a last conversation and drink our last cup of coffee. Someday we might be 80 and think about the different things we